So during the rally, when the speakers first started, we noticed that a helicopter had kind of come above, though it was fairly high up the first time it came around and didn't really affect us being able to hear what the speakers were saying. But then looped around, and the second time it had come around was during the acknowledgement of country, and it came a lot closer and had completely drowned out the voices of those who were talking, which was really distracting, but also really upsetting to see happen to our First Nations representatives who were up there talking about their experience and talking about the history of this country and what this means to them and why they were there. So there was two helicopters that were circling, one that was lower, that was impacting the speakers as it kind of looped around, and then there was that second one looping a bit higher. So once the rally finished, everybody was marching out calmly and peacefully. People wanted to march, as is our democratic right, but you know, if that wasn't going to be the case, that wasn't going to be the case. Essentially, most people just wanted to get home. When we got to the exit of Town Hall Square, we were trying to see which exit we could take because the trams were not working. We were going to have to walk home. And then we started to see that the police had blocked off both exits, so we weren't really sure where to go. We were just standing there just trying to follow direction and listen to instructions. And then the police started to get more and more agitated and more aggressive. Some of them were sneering, some of them were screaming. There was a lot of people just trying to have a conversation and seeing if they could walk through or get through. And then there was what I think was either a recording or one of the police officers saying the action's finished, you can leave now, to which we thought, where? Like, how can we exit? Because everything's blocked off. And then maybe 2 minutes after that initial recording or the message to leave, we just saw the police charge at us. And we got shoved and kettled into a corner against a glass wall. There was a woman that had fallen on the floor.
right at my feet, and there were plenty of other people around fallen. An older lady that had fallen to the side and had, I think, hit her back on the step. And the police just ran at us in that little corner and said, move, move, move. And I'm pretty sure that they were using expletive language and telling us to move. And I said, where? I've got somebody at my feet. And they were like screaming at us, pick her up, pick her up. And then another person came and said, move. So it was conflicting, aggressive directions. We tried to get the woman up. She couldn't. She was injured. And then the other young people and the other people that were at my feet, we tried to get them up. Once we finally got everyone up, we were herded out but being pushed and shoved. So I've got footage of police officers grabbing me quite heavily by the shoulder and pushing me out, and I was just saying, I'm walking, like I'm moving.
Help him up!
Give me a chance! Just let me! Get out!
Same thing, move!
Shame! 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 Shame!
After we had kind of finally been able to get out of it, we were back almost where we had initially started rallying, within town hall in front of that stage area, and people were recovering. People were trying to kind of splash their faces with water. People were checking if anyone needed first aid, and we did see that group of men getting ready to pray. So we had walked past. Everything was fairly settled. The police, we thought, had moved kind of, back towards George Street, but they had turned around and started the same formation, and were forcing and shoving people away from town hall. Again, they had kind of, what we had seen was those men who had gone down to pray were forced out the same way everybody else was. So there was that line of officers kind of just pushing and shoving everybody into the same direction and trying to get everyone out, though we weren't doing anything. We were just all kind of standing quite separate, making sure everybody was okay. There was no lineup of anyone trying to march, nothing. So yeah, they had created that line, were pushing people. They had grabbed those men who were praying and forced them out into the same direction, and then again created another, I guess, barricade or line of officers right in front of the stage. I saw them going up the stairs and forcing everybody that was up in that kind of area that people were speaking, forcing them and pushing them down the stairs. They kind of waited there for a bit, held that line while people were kind of saying, why are you doing this? And then again marched on everybody and forced them out of that town hall area.
So I was born and raised in Chile in South America until I was 6 years of age. During that time there was a brutal dictatorship in my country of origin. There was police brutality, there were murders, there was a whole lot of systematic abuse happening within our community. I grew up at rallies and protests, protesting for our human rights and for the end of the dictatorship. So I know and have witnessed from a very young age what police brutality looks and feels like. I could see that things were going that way. The police were acting more and more aggressive and more menacing. And I told some of the elderly people and my dad to leave the area. I wanted to remain behind so I could film, because I think that it's important to document crimes when crimes are happening. And if police are going to be brutal, I think it's important to document that so that footage can be used. if and when needed. So I stayed behind to film. I was compliant with any orders that were yelled and screamed at me. I put my hands up when I needed to and I said, okay, sure. But it's important to document and film and render assistance to people, because there were a lot of people, young, old, men and women, and others that were quite affected by being pepper sprayed at very close proximity to their face. I offered my mask to people to be able to wipe their eyes. We offered water to them and just made sure that people were safe, because at the end of the day, after being with these people for 2 years plus protesting against a brutal genocide, we are a community, we care for each other, and we stayed together and helped where we could, despite potentially putting ourselves at risk, because that's what we do and that's the nature of our movement. We are peaceful and we are a community that sticks together and makes sure that we are all okay. And thankfully, we were able to do that and film and take footage where we could.